Okay, this is going to be about shared, static, and overridable. So let's for shared, I'm going to make a variable called squad, and is equal to 0. I'm just going to make this public. I'll change this in a second. Again, I'll swap it for a property, but it might be a bit different, so you'll see why. So I'm going to make squad be incremented when an object out of classmates. So what shared does, it's a variable which is constant throughout every object of that class. So these are all different. Well, the variables are anyway. For each of the objects, where shared is shared between them, and any of them can increment, decrement, edit that variable. They all have access to it, but when it changes in one, it changes in all of them. So that's the difference. So what we can do in the constructor, I've already done it. We increment squad whenever a person is created and they've joined the squad, I guess. So here I'll show you how you write it. So it's going to write console.writeLine squad of. Then you would say, I mean, you can do person0 dot squad. I think. Oh, and that's what I was saying. Maybe you can't. This is not the right way of doing it anyway. So the right way of doing it is to do person dot squad. And it's erroring because I don't add it. Squad of the number, and I'll just put a code on here. Yeah. So that's how you access the shared variable. You don't access a particular item in that. You just access the general class, and then because it's shared, you can do that. You might remember that from episode 18, and that's why that it's like that. So yeah, so that's all good. Let's test this out. Squad of 2 because we've made 2 global people. And if we were to make another person somewhere in the class, somewhere in the program, the squad will be incremented. So I might actually move this into every time they're about to have an attack, because what I wanted to do is decrement it when they die. Now there's a problem here. Now I know the answer. Now what this does, we'd want to say, oh, if they're dead, we want to say squad and decrement squad here. Although the problem is, humanoid is the parent class, and this has also got to affect zombies. There isn't a shared variable in zombie called squad. It's only independent of person. So what can we do? We can actually override this property. This means we can actually change what it does, kind of thing. So if I write overridable like that, this gives permission for this property to be overridden. You can do this to subs, functions, anything. So now I can say overrides. So overridable makes it allowed to be overridden. Overrides is what you actually use to overwrite it. There's actually 3 default ones with classes, which is toString. So that can be useful if you want to reuse that, because normally that's crap and it doesn't give you anything useful. You can just put that and then you can actually make use of it. But health we're going to do. So if I do that, you can see it gives you this. Now this just accesses the humanoid one, but it will also get called when that happens too. So what we can actually do, we can add here our own little bit. So this is going to be the same, and what happens here is determined here. So that's determined there. So what we want to add is health is equal to 0. Then we don't need to put less than or equal to, because that's handled there. And notice this is health, not underscore health. So that's actually going through the property. So it's getting passed to this one, that's getting passed back to that one. So if you want, we could have actually just overwritten that and completely just bypass that, but we want to keep that the same with all the rules of humanoid. We just want to say if it is equal to 0, then we want to decrement squad. So that should work. The only problem is They're both going to die at the same time, but I mean, I can't really do nothing about that. Squad of two, squad of two. What have I got this thing twice? Oh right, I forgot to delete this. Squad of two. I'm just gonna let Lizzie own these guys. Squad of two, squad of zero. So you can see that's been decremented by 2 because both of them died at the same time. If this is gonna be a real game, you'd actually kind of put like a randomness on the zombie attack or something. Okay, so now let's show you example of static. Static is the same as shared, it's just local instead of global. Shared is only global, static's only local. So it's pretty much the same thing. So what we can do, we're going to say, it's going to be a bit weird this is, bival charge as boolean. So this is going to be like a ray gun or something, we're going to be able to charge the ammo. If charge is equal to true, then don't do this, else you just want to shoot it. I'm going to make this optional bival because you don't want to have to type charge if you're not going to use it. We've got to set a default one as false, so that should work. If you are going to charge it, we want to increase the static variable, so make a static variable. So this is kind of the same thing, but except it's constant throughout every call of the sub. Every other variable in a sub or function will get deleted after the sub is ended. A static variable will stay there forever. So static charge multi is equal to 1 by default. So if charge equals true, we want to increment static, so charge multi plus equals 1. And then what we will do here is when they actually do decide to actually shoot it, you want to times that by charge multi, and then we'd also want to set the charge back down to 1 again. So that should work. Okay, we're going to have another option here. Else if choice equals C, then we're going to charge the gun here. We don't actually need to loop through every zombie and shoot all of them. We just need to charge it. So just do P position I dot G dot shoot. I really should rename that class the thing, but we probably shouldn't have actually had this in because it's not actually going to do it. This is kind of getting a bad example, but it'll be fine. It's not going to do anything to the health. So dot health. I just need to pass it in so there's an error. And charge equals true. So we're going to charge the gun up. So I'm going to make Bob do the charging, and let me just retitle this. C for charge. So let's do C, and nothing for that. C, nothing for that. So now if I do shoot gun, sorry, this should take off a lot of, yeah, you can see Lizzie's health has gone down by a lot now because we've used a lot of charge. We've charged the gun with the static.